right. Recording, share the screen. Perfect. So you should be seeing the Canvas page. You can let me know if that's not the case. And let me jump over to section 9. And you submitted already in the progress report. Yep. So the only issue I have is that the JPEG isn't coming through right. So I made a tree.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out how to get it to show.
Let's see. Let me open it. Yeah, so the JPEG is right. So let me see. I don't really think I can edit. I don't know if I can. Oh, maybe I can edit a student's. Okay. So let me try and edit your posting. I'm going to remove the JPEG. I don't know if you did it this way. You can let me.
Oh, I didn't do it that way. That's probably what.
So yeah, Canvas is a little weird with embed image, but you click where you want it. So I want it at the bottom. Embed the image. Now here you go to Canvas, and then you have to click on a folder. So whatever, you just click on these course files, whichever folder you want. Click upload, and I just downloaded it. So draw a tree. And yeah, all text fine. So what I'm really interested for is the dimensions here. So just so that you're aware, usually monitors these days are around HD. I think it's like 1980
1920 by 1080.
Sure. So just make sure that your width. So if it's 1920, just make sure you stay underneath that. And you have to understand you have a lot of stuff on the sides. So you really want to, this is like a good size, like 1300, 1400 width, and dimensions around 600 pixels. So these fits nicely within a viewing one screen without having to scroll one way or the other. So when you're upload it, you can open up this little panel to see how big it really is. So the text on your image is about the same size as the text in the writing above it, so it's legible, it's good. I'm just going to put a space there. Nope. Let me jump out of the list.
You got to hit enter twice, I think.
Very good. So I just want some spacing just to give it a little breathing room. And perfect. I'm going to click done. And yeah, this is a great posting. So you did it perfectly. You listed out each of your cognitive statements, your actions that you as a user did on the user interface of the program to complete a task. And then you translated each one of these tasks into a shape on your diagram component of it. So I clicked on the rectangle tool, became left clicked on rectangle. I clicked on the color, left click on color. I wanted my shape to be filled, so I set the fill color. So you set the fill color. And then so on. So a bunch of user inputs into a process, user input process. You have a decision diamond because you're going through a drag, which it's indeterminate when it can be done. You have some more inputs, process, yep, and an end. And then you have a title, you have a start and an end. Yep, it's perfect. So while we're just on the topic of the homework for this week or the assignment, let me just show you one more example and then I'll explain it. So this is my example. This is what I built in class. It is almost like twice as big as it needs to be. So this is another example. Basically, you want 12 to 15 action statements or in your cognitive walkthrough. This I liked. In the future, I'm going to add this to the assignment. Do a little screenshot from the paint tool to show the object that you ended up painting. So basically, I just wanted you to do an arbitrary task in a piece of software this is a simple software. It's a painting software. It should be easy to learn, or everybody should at least understand it. That's why we picked the painting software. And that's why we're making like a simple painting app for the class, because it's just a fun way to learn interaction design and programming. In this case, the student chose to draw a box, and he listed out the cognitive steps. He thought about his thinking process as the user, and he tried to write out discrete action steps, and that's the cognitive walkthrough. And if you end up picking a task and it's too big and you're getting into like 20, 30, 40 steps, it's too big. So if you decide to draw a house, look at a subtask, break it down. Maybe look at how you drew the door. If you made a tree, look at how you just drew the branch. Or try to find a task or break it down to a subtask where you'll get between 12 and 15 steps. Then each step gets converted into a part of the diagram, a shape. I did this, then this, then this, then this. This happened. There is an iterative loop here that we don't know if we're done drawing, but once we're done, we do this and this and this and this, and then we stop. So the reason I asked for 12 to 15 is because it can be ambiguous if start and end is counted as a step. So in reality, 10 steps, 10 to 15 is good, but I do 12 to 15 just to get rid of the ambiguous nature of the start and end part of the diagram. So in the very least, you need to list out your cognitive steps and then build out a user flow diagram from each of those steps. And it's a user flow diagram that documents a process the user went through that makes it easy to think about a feature, so that when you program, you're not just going off in the wild and just trying to program something. You've put some thought into the design of the software before you attempt to build the software. I'm just going to open the chat panel. I just saw some comments coming out. 1 second. We have homework. Yes, we have homework. I'm covering it now, and I'll cover more details about it. Oh, let me cover the 380 after I cover the 201s, because they're mostly from 201s. My Canvas won't let me see photos. Let's see. What might be best to. So I might. Let me see if I can do a screen share. I don't know if you can talk, Denise.
Yeah, you can talk.
Okay. So I'm going to. Let me see if I've never actually tried to assign a screen share to somebody. Just give me a second. All right. Did you just become the presenter? Denise, did anything pop up?
I don't think so. I don't have any.
Nothing. It would have something would have popped up in your user interface.
Yeah, I don't think I got anything.
Let me stop screen sharing.
We can always talk about this after class too.
Sorry to interrupt, but on the left-hand side, when you're presenting, Professor, there's an option for you to click to ask to control. So maybe Denise can ask to control after you've already started sharing. I don't know if that.
So you said
I've never really used WebEx, but I noticed it.
On the participant side, there's a button that Denise can click on that says "Ask to Control."
Yeah, but it only popped up when you were sharing, so I don't know if it would be controlling your screen or hers. I've never
I think
really
it
used WebEx.
switches who can share the screen.
So what particular was you're talking about that you can't see photos when you try to do a forum posting on Canvas?
Yeah, I can't see images on Canvas, and I don't know what it is. It might be the permissions. It's definitely not the browser because the browser I use is supported by it. I cleared the cache. Let's see what else. I really don't know. It has something to do with permissions, I think.
All right, let's yeah, we'll approach actually, Gav, if maybe you could just do some searching on how to have participants share
Mm-mm.
WebEx, that'd be helpful as I just keep going on. So let
We
me
can get
pop.
to this after class, though.
Yeah. So, no, but this is what lab. This is what this lab time is really meant for. It's getting you over all these issues. So everything's on Canvas. Everything is online. You come into lab after you watch the lecture videos to get additional help. Let's see. So in this case, this happens to be the 101 section, which is on Mondays at 6 to 7:20. But I'm basically hosting lab time during each of the 3 201 sections, so you can come in during any of those, and we have to see if we need to make additional ones. But you can look at the syllabus. So the class is broken down into 3 major projects. It is a project-based class to learn interaction design and in programming. Everything is from scratch. Everything is basics brought up. Each sprint has 5 to 4. This is a shorter one. It kind of winds down. It's 4 weeks, and then we have a final exam. So for each week, I'm going to have lectures. I'm going to do part of the project, and then I suggest that you follow along with me and do the part of the project. So on average, there's like 3 hours of lecture and then 3 hours of work on your project time. So for this week, you do something, or you watch a video and you work on your project and you post in the progress report. I'll cover the progress reports in a moment. So week 2, follow the videos, work on your project, post in the report. 3, follow the videos, work on your project, post in the progress report. 4, work on follow the videos, work on your project, post in the progress report. And then every sprint, the last week, there's no new material, there's no new lectures. It's just keep working, get it done, and deliver at the end of the week. And then the same with sprint 2. Lectures, work on your project, progress report. Same here, same here, same here. Then no lectures, and there's no progress report in the last week because you post up your deliverable. Your deliverable is like your progress. It's like I've worked on it this week, I've worked on that this week, I've worked on this part, I worked on this part, and here's my final project for the sprint. And then we do the same here. Same thing, and then post up your project. And then we just do a final exam. So sprint 1, 25%. Sprint 2, 25%. 3, 25%. Final exam, 25%. So 4 graded parts, each are 25%. Now it's built like this that you can completely flub one part of the class and you can still pass. So you don't want to, but just in case, worst case scenarios, you just family issue, personal issue, mental issue, class issue. You do not deliver anything for a whole sprint, but you do everything else for the class, you'll be fine. You'll pass the class. You'll get that C. But if you're consistent with me every week, you'll do great in class. The class isn't meant to overwhelm you. It's not meant to break you at any point of the week. It's just do your 6 hours of work every week and you'll be fine. So it's about being consistent and regular. It's time management, project management. We're working in a sprint-based process, which is a very common way in the tech industry to work. You report on what you're doing. You tell me, if you're stuck or if you're making great progress, and you're supposed to deliver something at regular intervals. In this case, you're doing a progress report every week. Every week I did this, I did that, and here's my final job every 4 to 5 weeks. In industry, it's common to do a sprint in 2 weeks, but we're doing it in a nice slow fashion since it's for education. So I'll go into more details on that later. For now, definitely feel free to help each other, have other meetings. If you have friends in the class, work with them. In fact, in WebEx, sometimes people might just want to hang out here during class time just to talk and think about the work, or they just might want to mute themselves and just work on stuff. Feel free to use the lab time for that and interact with everyone. But you must do all your work. You're following along with me. All my code is available online on GitHub and through the website, and I show it. And the reason for that is it's obvious to me when you return your work, my own work, back to myself, and you're not going to get a good grade with that. So it's obvious to me when you're doing the progress reports. You can think of progress reports like dev blogs, like journals. It's just, how are you doing? What did you work on? What was really annoying? What was great? Show me a snippet of your code. I was able to do this. I kind of made this slider, but this part of the UI was really annoying to me. And so when it's time for grading the project, I can look through your progress reports, and it's obvious to me when you've actually been spending the time doing work or if you've been taking the work from somebody else. So it's fine to collaborate. Just do your own work. And if any part of your writing, any part of your user flow diagrams, any part of your code is used from somebody else, you better talk about it and state it. Because if I find out you're using other people's work, it's got to become a reporting with NJIT situation. So this class, it was built as hybrid, meaning we found that in technology classes that just front-loading lectures doesn't work that well, because you have to practice what you're learning. You have to use the technology. You got to write the code. You got to get the development environment up and running, and just get your hands dirty to really understand the point of what's being taught. So we moved all the lectures to videos. You can take your time with it, pause it, rewind it, come back to it at a later point. And really what's necessary is the interactive part of the class is really like the lab time. Where do you need to talk more? What are your questions? Where are you getting stuck in the project? Where are you not comfortable with the code? Right? So that's why attendance is optional. It's not part of the grade. But if you want to do well in class and make it a really easy 15 weeks, just watch the videos before the lab times, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Get the video work done Monday. Maybe get some of it done Monday, then at least you have a Monday lab. Get some of it done Tuesday, you have a Tuesday lab. Get some more done Wednesday, and make use of the labs as needed. When you get stuck and you have questions, come into lab time, and this is the interactive part of the class. And the lab is WebEx. It's online. And that's what all this is about with COVID. There's no point in taking unnecessary risks. You can share your screen. I could diagnose your problems just as easily as I could. If I really need to get deep into your project, Unity makes it really simple to export out your whole project as a Unity package. Basically, it's a compressed zip. I just open it up in Unity and share my screen. I can fix stuff, and I can send the package back to you. Constructive criticism only. In technology and in anything of design, whether it's artistic or engineering or scientific, you're never going to reach perfection. You're constantly kind of honing your craft. So feel free to pick out flaws and other people's projects, but always follow up with advice on how to improve it. Project deliverables at the end of every sprint. So yesterday, someone was like, "There's no attendance." I was like, "No," but the progress reports you can think of as attendance, because the progress reports will only be open for that week, and then they are closed forever. So I've had issues where students don't do anything for the month, and then they try to rush through the project in a week, And not only are you going to have like massive lab time, because there's just going to be like all these issues that could have been diagnosed over the course of a month, you have to try and diagnose over the course of a week, which isn't going to happen. But you go back and you start filling out all the progress reports, with this one effort. So the progress reports are only open for that week and then they're closed. No late submissions to progress reports. In fact, no late submissions to sprint projects. If you have a serious issue, physical, health, mental, emotional, family, personal, collegiate, whatever, go to the dean of students. And especially if you have family issues with COVID or what, it doesn't, just go to the dean of students, get a real official letter, give it to me. I'll work one-on-one with you. But for an average student who just maybe disappeared or maybe went and focused on other classes, you're just going to have to accept a lower grade for the class. I've had some students that will maybe disappear for a month and then try to make work up. So they're going through a previous sprint, all the material as the class moves on into the next sprint. And the problem with that is they always stay behind. They never put in that double, triple, quadruple work effort for, 1 week, 2 week, 3 week to just get caught up, and they stay behind the whole class. So they never make use of the live lab time. They're never in sync with the class. So if we're over here, the makeup students over here, and they'll always stay behind and they'll have a poor educational experience. So the way I alleviate that is there's no late submissions. And the grading scheme is set up that even if you mess up with one whole sprint, you can still recover, and I'll give you the project. So I'm going to move through all these parts of Canvas later, but just notice here at the end of sprint 1, we deliver sprint 1. Here we're moving on to sprint 2. Notice here, this is not available to you. This is hidden from you. Here's the completed sprint 1 Unity package, and I'll give it to you, and you will be caught up with the class. So this means if you weren't able to complete sprint 1 in any type of capacity, it's fine. I'll give you the package. You start fresh with the class in sprint 2. So since grading per sprint, each sprint's worth 25% of the grade, I look heavily on the progress report. Progress report, progress report, progress report, progress report, and then a final delivery. I look at all the progress reports and I look at the final delivery to grade you for the sprint. So if you say you did 3 progress reports and then something happened, but it wasn't an excused dean of students type thing, you don't have a progress report here and you didn't deliver, you'll get a partial grade. But here's the Unity package, you move on to sprint 2. Or say you didn't do progress reports for week 1, 2, and 3, but then you did all the work on week 4, you did a report, and you do the deliverable. So you'll still get a partial grade, but the deliverable is a strong part of it. At least you did one of the postings, so I see that you were active for these weeks, but you didn't do postings on 1, 2, 3. All right, so you're going to get a less than perfect grade, but you finished the project. You don't need the completed Unity project to move on to sprints 2. So 3 deliveries and 11 progress reports. So there's 3 sprint deliveries. I've actually never counted up the progress reports, but sure, there's 4 here, there's 4 there, and there's 3. So 8 plus 3, 11. Yep. So the point is, you need to be active. Come to lab times. It's all optional, but if you have real questions, come. But if you just want to be I just want to get my work done, I just want a regular time of the week to just work on stuff, come into lab time. But by regularity, I mean getting these progress reports out to me every week because they close. And then especially get your deliverable in on time because they close. So let me start from the top up here. So we have a bunch of documents, the class website. I'll go into some of these in more detail. We have a general help forum. You have any questions about the class, you post up here. You have any questions about tech help at the project, post up here. Help people in these forums and I'll give you extra credit points. This is to help for everyone to help each other. Email me at any point of the week. I'm very active on email. And if we need to have a phone call, web conference, whatever. So here we go. First week of the semester. I really call it like week 0 because I'm training you how to function in the online class. This week is special than the others because I give you a specific assignment. I need to teach you a little bit about UX, or user experience. I need to teach you how to think of yourself as a user. I need to teach you how to think as a designer a little bit. So we do train you on how to do a cognitive walkthrough. We teach you how to do a user flow diagram. And I want you to actually submit your user flow diagram and your cognitive walkthrough back to me here in this progress report. So the other weeks are all of their own nature. We enter a sprint. I tell you what the end of the sprint is going to look like. Every week I work on it, and you must post up what you worked on. Think of it as a dev blog, as a journal. Well, this was interesting this week. I really got stuck. I had to come in. I just didn't understand these concepts of drop downs and sliders. And you know what? I got some help, and I was able to get it functioning. And here's like a snippet of my code that, at least this one color slider works, but I wasn't able to get the rest done. I really hope to get some more done next week. Okay, you got me inside your headspace. I understand what you were trying to do for the week. Just journal about your efforts in interaction design and programming, and just tell me what you were working on and where you're frustrated and where you're happy. Show some snippets, and I'm like, okay, this person actually was active for the week. So think of these progress reports like attendance, and they're very important to document. So if I click on one, this is the progress report for the first week. All right, and here's my example posting of this user flow diagram, and here's one student already posted. Here's their cognitive walkthrough. Here's their user flow diagram. Amazing. But what I really wanted to show you was, if I click edit, here, it's available and until. So it was available from August 30th, and it's closing at September 6th at 11:59 p.m. So every weekly deliverable closes out on that Sunday. That closes the week at 11:59 p.m. So we are in the first week of class. You have until Sunday the 6th at 11:59 p.m. And then the next progress report or the next week's forum opens up that Monday at midnight, a minute later. So this one should have really been Monday at midnight. But so you have from Monday at midnight all the way to the ending Sunday at 11:59 p.m. to submit something. So it's all about regularity. So if you need to put some calendar events on your Google Calendar to notify you Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, I better get something submitted. Do that. Come to lab times to help regulate yourself. The other thing I wanted to make a note of is that you can always edit your postings all the way up until that Sunday at 11:59. So just start making some rough drafts of your postings. Like you did some work Monday, Tuesday, write a little bit of something. Because even if you did all this work for the rest of the week, but you forgot to do your posting, at least you kind of documented part of the week. So you can always go to here and go to edit, and you can return back to this little GUI that lets you enter text and embed images and add links and whatever you needed for your submission. So, there might be a week or two where you mess up, and that's fine because it's just a week or two. It's not going to have a major impact to your grade. It's when you completely walk away for a whole sprint or half a sprint that you're gonna start having some issues. And so every week closes at that Sunday at 11:59, and especially note that that's deliverable, which is the most important part. It's the ending of the sprint. So here we have progress report dealing with this assignment. Here we go into sprint 1. I give you what the assignment is for sprint 1. Here's the lecture videos. I tell you some suggested project work. You want to keep up to date? Think about doing this for this week to keep regular. And then do your posting. Go into week 2, watch the videos. Here's some suggested project work. Do your posting. Here we go into week 3 of sprint 1, the 4th week of the semester. Here's the videos. Here's the suggested work. Do your posting. And here's that kind of extra week. So if you're really regular with the class, you're done at the end of week 4. You can submit your sprint 1 deliverable right at that Monday, that first Monday of this week, and you can walk away from this class for a week. You can go focus on another class. You can get extra time back. So now I reward good behavior and I give extra time for everyone else. So most of you will be going into the 5th week. It's just the nature of the workflow. You have 5 classes. It can be very draining, but at least you have that extra week. Do whatever you can, get the deliverable up to whatever quality, and just drop it. Partial delivery of the deliverable is much better than trying to complete the whole thing, but then never submit it because the deliverable closes at the 4th at 11:59 p.m. So if I open the deliverable here, it's available from that Monday, September 28th at midnight, and it closes that following Sunday, October 4th at 11:59 p.m. All right, and so the student was asking, do we add new features or do we just do what you show us in the video? So the class is very much follow me. I don't want you to get completely lost and have a miserable time and go down these tangent areas of these amazing ideas you have, but they're super complex, and you might have a big failure. So you follow me, but I allow you to deviate. So you start to get your own flavor in the project. So let me just show you the website. So we're doing this one here, this 3D Dev. There's the follow-up classes, virtual reality. But we have part 1, 3D development, sprint 1, 2, 3. Notice that there's a 4th one. This was more about code refactoring, and it was getting a little too advanced for the students, and I didn't have any breaks in between the sprints. So I removed sprint 4. We just do 3 sprints with the final exam. Since I just mentioned the final exam, I'll say all the way down here, we wrap up sprint 3 on December 6th, and final exam is going to be the last day of class. In this case, it's the Monday class on the 7th, the Tuesday class on the 8th, the Wednesday class on the 9th. Here are the topics, and it's just everything we've been doing in class. Computer science fundamentals, basics of 3D primitives and computer graphics. So variables, if statements, switches, what have you. And then here's a lot of tutorials on all this stuff, in addition to my stuff if you need more information to study. User interfaces. If you've been doing the projects, if you've actually been doing the real work every week, the final exam is going to be a cakewalk. So the final exam is right here. And it is only active during your class time. The exam is active for 60 minutes, but most people complete it in 30 to 40 minutes. It's I believe it was 10 short answer and 15 multiple choice. And it's really just, it takes you 30, 45 minutes, but I give you 60 minutes. All right. And even if you come to class late, so let's say you come to class on time, you have 60 minutes. So if you start it in this case, the exam will open up at 6 p.m. If you start it right at 6 p.m., it ends at 7 p.m. for you if you go the whole 60 minutes. If you come to class late, say if you come in at 6:40 p.m., you only have 40 minutes because it's 40 minutes to 7:20. So you can come to class up to 20 minutes late and start the exam and still have a full 60 minutes. I'm just saying if you come really late, like 40 minutes late, you only have 40 minutes to work on. But that's okay still too, because the exam should only take you like 40 minutes. Now, you just come in and you log in. This will be active. You click enter the final exam and you'll do it. So the short answers, really simple, a sentence or two. What is a variable? When would you use a switch statement? And I give you a bunch of sample, like here's some sample questions. What is a component on a game object? You'll learn what this means. Which is a Unity specific, what is a customized data structure? So integer, float, a vector3, or a Boolean. So the others are very standard. The vector3 is the specific data structure, which you'll learn about. And so anyway, that was the final exam. So here is the class. Sprint 1, 2, and 3 you're going to focus on. Here's the builds. Actually, here's the code in GitHub. There's nothing to hide because if you just return my project back to me, I'm going to know what my own user flows are. You can document my user flows. You can do my own features. Just do them by yourself. I can tell from your progress reports. I can tell from your user flow diagrams. I can tell from the way your user interface looks if you did or not. So here you can read through this all if you want more information. And actually all this is recreated in the Canvas page also, but if you wanted to read it in a different format, a web page, that's fine too. So let me go to Sprint 1 assignment, which is also on that web page. So Sprint 1, just say, take the start of this semester survey. It helps me to get to know you guys. You can read through the objectives here, which is the website I just took you to. And then you can read through Sprint 1 specifically. So if you click there, it'll just take you to this Sprint 1 right here. And it's what am I going to teach you? What's the point of Sprint 1? What are you going to learn? And actually, here's my user flow diagrams. These are the features I chose to document for my project I'm working on, which the project is here. So here is the interactive demo, the project for Sprint 1. It's just a basic painting app. I can go around and paint all these 3D objects. The 3D objects get deleted after 3 seconds. If you don't like that deletion, you can turn it off here and you can keep painting. And the only way to delete stuff now is you can right click. Notice I have instructions up here. You can right click to delete. You can click this clear button, or you can turn time destroy back on. We could switch to another object to paint. We can change the size that we're painting at. We can change the color composition of how I'm randomly painting them with colors. And we're keeping track of where the mouse is on the screen. So I actually listed about 6 or 7 features, and notice that I'm only documenting 3. So there's more features that can be documented, right? So that's why in the assignment, so the 3 I did is I can actually paint, I can change a primitive, I can change the color, right? So that's why in this assignment I say, basically you're making what I'm making. If you're more seasoned, you're more experienced, You can iterate more. You can come up with more of your own features. But what I ask you to do is use my app, use what I just used, and you learn to do a cognitive walkthrough. You learn to like write out your action statements and make a user flow diagram. And I want you to diagram 4 features from my app that you're going to at least recreate for your deliverable. So what I want is an example delivery is this is my project description. I'm making an app that does this and that, and the user is allowed to do this. And here's the link to my demo, my prototype on itch.io, which is what this is. And you'll be taught how to do all that. And I said, alternatively, you can embed the build below. So if you come down here, you see that the same little demo is playing right within my posting. This is optional. You don't have to do this. If you do want to do it, all you got to do is there's a little bit of code. Distribute, embed game. This little snippet of code right here, you just copy and paste it. And you can go into your posting. You can edit. And you're used to using this like GUI, but you can also click on the HTML editor and it shows you like the raw HTML code, and you just paste that code in at the bottom and it'll be embedded. But it's not mandatory. So after you write out your description, your project description for that sprint, I completed my sprint project. Let me explain it to you. Here's a link to an actual functioning demo. And let me tell you, test your link. Okay, make sure it's public. And I do this in the videos, but make sure it's published, it's public, and you test it by logging out of your itch.io and then pasting the link and seeing if you can run it as an anonymous person, as someone not logged in. Then you want to state each flow, the title and the description, and then show the accompanying diagram beneath it. So notice I have stated 3 flows and I have 3 flows diagrammed. And then I can use your app to see if you actually programmed, you actually developed what these features are that you're describing with diagrams and with text. And I'll probably be clicking on a link here and going to your itch.io. All right. So sprint 1, each sprints build on each other. Sprint 1 turns into sprint 2, which is more complicated, has more features, turns into sprint 3, which is more complicated, has more features, and we have an even stronger 3D painting app at the end of the class. We build and build on top of each other in the sprint fashion, just like you would do in industry. So if you are brand new to everything and you're not feeling comfortable in yourself, you could say, okay, the professor already created 3 user flows. I'm going to follow him. I am going to create my cognitive walkthrough of the painting flow, and I'm going to build my painting flow user diagram. Don't give me my diagram back to me. It's obvious to me you're going to get a poor grade. Do your cognitive walkthrough, build your user flow, and then actually program the feature. And if you choose to use these 3, painting, changing the primitive, changing the color, that's fine. But do your own cognitive walkthroughs, do your own user diagrams, code them. And just to make sure that you're at least doing something, I say do 4. You have to do 1 more. So even in my app, you can pick something else. There's a clear button. There's a time destroy, turn on and off. And there's a right click to erase. So you have more features to pick from to do a 4th. Or if this is too basic for you, once in a while we get some adult students who are already out in the field, that's fine. Then describe your own feature and start to build it. If you wish to get a little bit more customized, you wish to a little bit more advanced yourself. But I don't require that. So does that answer your question? Do we need to add new features into the project? Okay. So that's sprint 1. And so that's why I give you the assignment here. And I say, I actually do it. I teach you and I do it, and then you do it. I do a little bit every week. I just build it and build it. And you do it. You build it and you give a progress report. Build it, do a progress report. Build it, do a progress report. And then spend an extra week finishing up. And at some point that week, just do the deliverable. The deliverable is a posting that has your project description. It has a link to your HIO build. It has a description of your 4 features, and it has your 4 user flow diagrams. And that's what I expect here, right? Then we move on. Sprint 2. Sprint 2 assignment. And, here's the full description of it, and you can read through it, but it's just going to be a more elaborate version of the painting app. Here's my project description. Here's my link to my prototype. And I'm saying you must create 5 features. I documented 4. Here's my 4. 2 of them happened to be of a similar nature. So we have one that's input-based deletion, one that's timer-based deletion. We have a paint stroke modification based on the size and the distance, and we have this changing the environment, changing the daylight cycle. So if you happen to make use of one of these features in a previous sprint, like if you did timer-based clearing as a documented feature last sprint, you're going to have to obviously replace. You're not going to be able to use it this sprint. But again, I do more features then I document. So you can pick other ones and do a cognitive walkthrough. So as I use this app, you notice how things are a little different. The objects, the quicker I move my mouse, the more an object, bigger it is. So I did this to scale to the spacing. If you move really fast, there's big gaps in your painting stroke. You can see it here. If I move really fast, see how there's it doesn't really look like a line. There's actually big gaps between the objects. So here I adjusted for that by modifying the paint stroke. Paint stroke modification based on the distance. So let's see what we have here. I have a slider that oh no, I want things to last really long, 5 seconds before they get deleted. So that was long. That's 5 seconds. I can move it to 1 second. Things get deleted quickly. All right, that's another feature. I still have sphere, cube, cylinder, but you notice how they're opaque. They're kind of see-through. Here's them opaque. I can lower them to transparent. Here's them kind of super glowy. Here's not as much glow. And here's the same color sliders, but I just upgraded how the UI looks and feels. And here's a clock. And if I click on it, it changes the time of day. I go from AM to PM. So it gives a feature to the user oh, I'm painting, it's relaxing. I want to do it in the daytime. I want to do it in the evening. So whatever their choices are, they can change the environment. They can change the daylight based on using this clock. All right. So it's a bunch more features, more than these 4. And you document 5. You can follow along with mine, but you have to do them. And if you start to at least you have a lot more room if you wish to go off on your own, or if you're not comfortable, you still have that choice to stay close to me. All right, and that's sprint 2. Lectures, work, progress report, lectures, work, progress report, lectures, work, progress report, lectures, work, progress report, and then do your extra week, and you have a deliverable. Then we go into sprint 3, And again, it's the same nature. Here's a whole explanation. You can click and go to the Sprint 3 webpage. But here's my example. Project description, link to my prototype. And I documented 4. And this one is because we're going to create more content. I'll show you what this looks like in a second. You just have to create 4 features, and you have to create 3 painted things that have different animations. And so here's my user flow descriptions. Here's my user flows. And what that means is notice how my paint strokes animate now. So I have this type of animation. I can switch the animation to this. And I can switch the animation to this. So I have 3 different animation types and 3 different types of things that I can paint. So that means in total, you have like 3 things that you can paint, each with 3 animations. So for a total of 9 animations. All right. And then even this thing has, it's a little clunky. You can like randomize the speed. You can randomize the type. You can adjust your settings. You want to make things like move super fast or super slow. These features exist. Just know that Sprint 4, which was removed, is the most cleaned up. So if you do stumble upon Sprint 4, it does look like this. And I basically clean up the whole user interface, and I clean up, there's like some bugs with the code, and it ends up looking like this. But we don't get to this extent because the Sprint 4 in the 15 weeks was just too much. But if you want to, this is what the code is like at GitHub, and there is the extra videos up on the website. There's a Sprint 4 up on the website if you wish to clean up your project to this, level. All right? But 3 sprints are required. So here's Sprint 3, give your assignment, video, work, report, video, work, report, video, work, report. There's only 3 weeks. And then here's your posting. And then we go into the final exam. And I do the final exam on the last day of class. So the second to last week, Sprint 3. Last week, you have your exam, and then I leave you alone for finals week. You can go off to deal with your other classes. And that's it. So let me know if you have any questions.
I have a question.
So if somebody asked, they want to turn the painting app into a level editor, if you have prior Unity experience, I want to talk to you later, like maybe, but the problem I have with that is usually people come in as a beginner level, and you have a lot of ideas, and that's great, but then you run into a lot of roadblocks and obstacles, and you're off on your own, so you don't have nearly as much support. Okay, you've taken foundations. Let me talk to you, hang out in a lab time later, and let me talk to you about that. Did I hear someone about to ask a question?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I downloaded Unity, and I'm trying to run it, and it's telling me I don't have a valid license. So am I supposed to activate?
So do the personal license. It's free.
Okay.
So with Unity, you're gonna install this version, 2018 for 26F1. This is in sync with the class really well. If I click on the link, these are long-term support versions. And if you scroll down, here's the 2018 one. Download this one for Windows or Mac. Go through, it'll install Visual Studio, the free version, community version along with it. Then it'll ask you if you want certain modules. Just turn on the WebGL module to install that. WebGL, when you build, it'll create a series of HTML and JavaScript files, and you zip it up. If you forget to do that later on, you can install the WebGL module. So I'm going to go to, you just let me know if there's other, yeah, if you're on Linux, Unity works on Linux. Yep. Most of you will be, usually I have like 75% Windows, 25% Mac. And Mac people usually have these security issues with, they didn't put the download in the right folder to open it up. We have to deal with that. Now, you don't choose all the components during installation. You can, it's a cross-platform development environment, so you can build for PC, Mac, Linux, Facebook. There's WebGL, there's Android, and there's a few others. So you just want to be able to build for WebGL and make sure you have download Visual Studio, or the option, which will be on by default. So if there's no questions right now, I'm going to go answer Mohammed if, yeah, he's still in here. Okay. Yeah, for IT380, structure is very similar. It's 3 sprints. We just don't have an exam in 380 because you're going to be delivering a more functioning prototype. And yeah, every week there's design lecture and programming lecture. And every sprint, you will be delivering deliverables that are design based, and you'll be building a design doc, and you'll be building a section of your prototype. So for sprint 1, you'll be delivering half of a design doc focused on the research aspect, and you'll be building the intro part of your prototype, which explains your research. Sprint 2 will be focused on UX design, will be focused on building a tutorial, and Sprint 3 will be focused on building the level 1, the simulation, and looking at the interactions. But for Sprint 1 midpoint deliverable, it will be writing. And only at the end of Sprint 1, at the end point, will you have completed the WebGL build, which shows the intro to your prototype. So for Sprint 1 midpoint, it's just writing.
Thank you.
Yep. And I got a bunch more content up. I have 3 videos now, and I just have to create the 4th video for the week, and I'll be doing that after this.
Also, I checked out the assignment we had to play test, and just like I read through the document a little bit. I didn't really get through the slides, but the assignment there was just to like play test it and follow the directions and answer those questions, right?
Yep. And that's what my next lecture is going to be on.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And if you notice in the chat panel, Gav posted up her Discord server. So Gav is Gavriela Mitnick. You can see her in participants. She's a TA. She'll be here during the lab times as well, helping out on Unity. So what might happen is I might be talking primarily with somebody or helping somebody, and people might be interested in listening or watching this, but there might be a queue of students forming for direct help. But I'm only helping one person at a time, and it's noisy, and so Gav might pull people over to her Discord server to help them, one-on-one, to help speed up the process. So if you notice, she's posting up her Discord server, and looks like I should be posting that. I'll end up putting her Discord information as well. Is that right, Gabrielle? There's no space. It looks like this.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I'll just put that in the 3 classes. So, yep, that's great. Make the group meetings short. You should post that in the Monday, Tuesday labs if you're around for next week too. So that'd be nice to have everyone. You can go into the general help forum of your class. You can post that up too. You can just say, hey, here's the group me. All right. So what other general questions do you have? Does everything make sense? So actually, the last thing I always say is, I know that you might feel this class might be unusual. You might feel uncomfortable because you've never had a class in a structure like this before. But we've been revising this class for like the last 4 or 5 years based on the needs of the IT program, and it's formed up really well for the needs of learning interaction design and programming. And so the first week might feel odd. And especially this is probably your only class with user experience or with thinking about designing a piece of software for a user. So just take your time this week, and trust me, you'll get in a flow with each sprint. Just watch the videos, do your work, come to lab time, do your progress report, repeat, recycle. You just do the same thing for 15 weeks. And it's all about building an iteratively more stronger piece of software. And it'll feel more comfortable as you just start diving in. It's a very hands-on, get your hands dirty class, project-based. So just start doing. So if there's no other questions, one more question. Yeah. Take a look. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we just had a birth, our first kid, first baby. I'm in IT, and my wife's over in DD, and so thank you. Yeah, he's a sweet little boy. Yeah, check out the new video. I'm very happy with what I talked about with learning science. So I just have to get one more video up. So the only unsolved thing is 3D platformer. So do you have a link to something you're thinking of? Are you thinking of basically how you're moving your painting stuff? It would be for placing down like pieces of a platform.
Yeah, the paintings would essentially, like the cubes or the cylinders, would become like platforms. And I was thinking of making it so you could rotate the camera, so you could place them not just flat, but also with some depth, and then have different colors correspond to perhaps like different functions. Like one might be the end goal, one might be a standard platform, another might be a moving one,
Okay.
another one might be a hazard.
Okay. So the user interface allows the level designer to pick different parts of the level.
Pick different colors to signify what this shape is doing and such.
Okay. It's just going to be a little extra work for you if you're fine with that, because you're going to have to be a little bit clearer. You're going to have to give the amount of design and direction that I'm giving him in my user flows and cognitive steps, but you're doing it for your own custom project. You're comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that.
All right.
I'm just asking because I don't want to overstep any boundaries here if that's way too
Sure.
far out of line.
So this first week is the same. You still have to do the cognitive walkthrough and user diagram assignment, and you still talk about your progress every week. But you're a little different where you're like, for example, sprint one and your first progress report, you'd have to describe the 4 features you're thinking of building for that sprint. And then you need some backups. You're like, in case this is too complex, I'm going to reduce this feature down to this.
Okay,
So that
let me
if,
write that down.
huh?
I'm going to just write that down.
Yeah. So for every feature you describe that you're going to build, you need either a reduced one, or you need like a backup in case you need an emergency plan in case things go bad.
Understood.
And if you do that for the first week of every sprint and you meet with me, you come into lab time and you show it to me. And you're like, hey, look, I'm thinking of doing these 4 or 5 things. And I've thought of if in case I fail here, I'm going to do this. Then I'll feel more comfortable.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So go ahead with this week as is and see me early next week with your plan for sprint 1.
Gotcha.
Okay. Is there anyone else? Anything, general concerns, questions?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Professor.
Sure, no problem. So remember, these are optional. It's great to see so many people, but don't feel like there's a requirement. And after this, I'm going to go double check the verification of presence. Make sure you at least go on the Canvas page for me to if you haven't been verified yet. And if you're done, you can head out. If you have questions, stay here.
Thank you. Have a great week, Professor.
Yeah, you too. Have a good one. And if you're really concerned, email me. I'll meet with you. Trust me that it'll be a good semester. Yep, email me whenever you need to.
Thanks so much, Professor. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. I'll put my email in the chat panel too, but it's up on the Canvas.
All right. Have a good one.
Yep, have a good one. And somebody asked, so just as an introduction, we start by listening to the week 0 lectures and submit the progress report by Friday. So yes, technically the progress reports close out Sunday at 11:59 p.m. But I would recommend doing your progress reports by Friday, because then at least if you forget, you have the weekend to hopefully remember that you didn't submit. So this right here, this is due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. So I want you to watch this lecture 1, lecture 2. I want you to I teach you how to use the diagramming tool. It's for free. It's on Google Drive. And I ask you to write out your cognitive walkthrough, create your user flow diagram, and post that before this coming Sunday, the 6th. Yep. Have a good one. All right. Everyone's left. I'm going to stop the recording.